Myself, Dr. Vijender Singh Tawar, Associate Professor in English. Presently, I have been posted at Government College, Buda, in the Jharsuguda district. In the series of videos, lectures which are prepared for BA Part 2nd, we are trying to give you the detailed summary of the famous novel Azadi, written by Chaman Nahar. As it is a big novel, it is divided by the author into three parts. The first part was entitled as the Lull. It consists of 5 chapters. We have completed all the 5 chapters in 2 videos. The second part consists of 6 chapters. Out of 6, we have completed in 2 videos 5 chapters. Now we are left 2 chapters. First, we can say the 6th chapter of the part 2nd, the storm, and the 1 chapter of the part 3rd, the aftermath. Both of them have been taken up in this video. So this is the last video as far as the summary of the novel Azadi is concerned. In the last video, we came to know that Lalaji, after facing a lot of difficulties, problems, tortures, they were able to reach at the Dera Baba Nanak, which was situated on the Indian border along with his family. Now we, in the 6th chapter, which is a part of the second part of the novel, The Storm, chapter 6, we are told what happens to Lalaji after that. So from Dera Baba Nanak, Lala Kasiram's family, Miran Singh family, Teja Singh's family, they all moved to Amritsar. They spent some days at Amritsar. They had some distant relatives. They visited them, but they were considered as unwelcome guests. They were not given that kind of honor which they expected. On the contrary, their relatives tried to avoid them. So this gave a shock to Lalaji. Prabharani, his wife, she suggested that they should go to Kanpur as her brothers live there, but Lalaji told her that Kanpur is very far away, so it would not be good. And he was not interested in going to Kanpur also. Then there were other options in the Punjab. There were Jalandhar, Ludhiana, Ambala. But Lalaji was mentally prepared to accept only one city in Punjab, and that is Sialkot. That what the author wants to say, that except Sialkot, no other city had any importance in the mind and heart of Lalaji. During this discussion, Arun suggested that they should go to Delhi, and Lala Kasiram accepted this at once. They were living in Amritsar. At Amritsar, they spent a couple of weeks in another refugee camp, but this time the camp was of incoming refugees. Lalaji and his family members, they decided to go to Delhi. So they were on their way to go to railway station in their Tongas from their refugee camp. The Tonga driver stopped at a place and they ran somewhere. After some time, they had to wait there for a long time. After some time, the Tonga driver came and they were asked, they told that they had gone to see the procession of Muslim women through the bazaar. As we know, This reminded Arun that he, along with Suraj Prakash, went at Narwal to see the parade of Hindu women. He saw there that there was a Muslim who was shocked by the cruelty of human beings. The same thing, same kind of idea came into Arun's mind, and he thought that the dome of the golden temple in the background, and he wondered if any Sikh out there was weeping for these women as a Muslim was weeping for Hindu women. Now they reached at the railway station. The train was ready because a train was not ready because a train with hundreds of slaughtered Muslims had pulled in, and they were cleaning the platform. As it was a normal activity at the time to kill people in the name of religion. Then the police officer came to make inquiries, and he asked certain questions to Lalaji. Why they were going to Delhi? Why they are not going to another city, etc. These are silly questions. This enraged Lalaji. He got angry and said, I am going there to have a meal with Jawaharlal Nehru to celebrate Azadi. This is a kind of pain which is reflected in the statement of Lalaji, that he was not happy the way they were being treated in the free country. In the train for refugee, no tickets were required to travel. Train were overloaded, overcrowded. There were people on its rooftop, people on its footboards, people hanging from the windows, people sitting on the engine, people on the guard's van. Inside the compartments, there was no standing room was left. Means there was completely overcrowded. It was very difficult to see the train from outside. There were only people all over it. Arun squeezed out of the window to see how it looked. As he was out, the train started moving. He was almost about to miss the train, but he ran back and jumped through the window inside the window. His father rebuked him. Now the train started, but the train was covering the distance at normal speed. But it had to stay for abnormal time at the different railway stations. The Jalandhar railway station, the train halted for over 7 hours. At Ludhiana for 5 hours. At Ambala, it stopped outside the signal. The signal. It looked as though it would never move. It was 7 when the train stopped, and now it was 10 p.m. For 3 years, it had been standing outside the signal. They came to know that a refugee train of Muslim has been derailed at the station, and they were cleaning it, making route for the refugee train of Lalaji to go to Delhi. At the same time, Ishar Kaur clumsily said something into the ear of Prabharani as her delivery was expecting. So she was surrounded by people there, and she was crying in pain. At the Other hand, that is at the railway station, train of Muslim refugees, which had been derailed at the railway station, and that is what the delay was about. Lala Kasiram, when the train started, counted the dead bodies. He counted that there were 94 dead bodies lying on the railway station. Ishar Kaur delivered her child and a new life had arrived in the world. The train stayed at Ambala station for 24 hours and it was declared so anyone who was interested in visiting this town could go out. Lala and Kasiram and Arun, both of them also went outside the station to see the town. They came back and the train again started towards the destination to reach Delhi. The train was passing through the field of Kurukshetra. Prabharani was very much impressed by the beauty of the fields. She thought that this is the where the Kauravas and the Pandavas fought the battle of Mahabharata. And when this was discussed, Kasiram got a spiritual awakening in himself. He told Prabharani, he told, I have ceased to hate. Prabharani looked at him, hate? Yes, I can't hate the Muslims anymore. This was unexpected. At no time had Lala Kasiram openly said anything against the Muslim. In spite of his heart, he had been most circumspect. The result that he has witnessed many incidents that he started thinking that it is not only the Muslims who are responsible for this tragedy, but Hindus were also equally responsible for it. Lala Kasiram overcame the weakness of human flesh and became a true representative of human value. As he said, we are equally guilty. But Prabharani was not of the same view. She had a pain in her heart because her daughter Madhu and her husband was killed by Muslim. She stated, I will hate and curse them as long as I live. Lalaji told her, each of those girls in that procession at Amritsar was someone's Madhu. And there must have been many among us the dead you saw at Ambala. They reached Delhi. Lala Kasiram was standing before the rehabilitation officer and he asked many questions to Lalaji. Why have you come to Delhi? Why do you Punjabi lift your faces and march onto Delhi? Who are these Amarvati and Surundawala? As we know, both of them have lost their male, so they were taken care of by Lalaji. So he told the officer about them. Then the officer, in a taunting manner, said, you have all lost someone. The old man wants a house and a shop refugee property. What does it mean? That Lalaji requested the officer to give him from the property which was left by Muslims one shop and one house. And they made fun of Lalaji that this person wants a house and shop. The officer told him, Lalaji, what fool's paradise are you living in? It is the middle of November. 600,000 Hindus and 6 refugees are already in the capital. Do you think there is a house and a shop left waiting for you? He was denied what he wanted. Neither he was given any shelter in any camp. So Lalaji and his other members, they decided to stay at the railway station till there. Lalaji thought that he should go and meet the Prime Minister Nehru, and he was sure that he would convince him and he would get a shop and a house for him. But when he went there, he saw there were many people already present there, and they were informed that Pandit Nehru is not in Delhi, he had gone to Bombay. The idea is he did not get any help from there also. So he came back and he met the officers. When he came back after his visit to Nehru's residence, he found that Sardar Teja Singh and Ishar Kaur went to live with one of their relatives. They were taken there. He was, you can say, pain. He was in pain when he came to know that they had gone without meeting him. But he was told that Sardar Teja Singh will come very soon and will see him. Now, Arun and Lala Kasiram searched every single locality to find a house in all the areas of Delhi. They went to see the officer. The officer demanded bribe of 1,000. That was beyond their means. Anyway, when they were making inquiries about vacant house which could be given to them on rent. The people or the residents described them as quarrelsome, as Punjabis were described as quarrelsome, but they were not given house on rent. During this process, 2 or 3 days, a strange kind of relationship developed between father and son. A kind of friendship developed between them. At last, one evening, they moved to Kingsway camp at Alipur Road. That they were told that there they can go. They were given 2 adjacent rooms. They were small rooms, 12 feet by 12, but they had a covered veranda in front of where they could set up a kitchen. So in one room, Lala Kasiram, Arun and his wife Parvarani stayed, and in the second room, other members Bibi Amarvati and Sunandawala and their 2 sons and daughters lived there. Lala Kasiram declared before Bibi Amarvati that they are his responsibility. She smiled, and she also declared that Sunanda will find work very soon, and there is no hurry, Lalaji told her. It rained again that night, but they were all well protected from. Now part 3 of the novel, which has been entitled by the author, The Aftermath, means the results, consequences of the partition. And this part has only 1 chapter. It is very small chapter as compared to other chapters also. In the last chapter, we came to know that Lala Kasiram and other members who were very near and dear, they got settlement in Kingsway refugee camp. And he started his business there very at a small scale level, but it was okay for him. He was earning so that he can make both ends. Now, after some time, what happened? The nation had got independence, as it was because of this. Lala Kasiram was a refugee. It is also a fact. He had lost his property in Pakistan. It was also a fact. Now he wanted to claim compensation for his lost property, which he lost in Pakistan. For this purpose, he had to fill a form and also apply. He applied, but the official process was so slow and complex that he had visited more than 20 times to rehabilitation office without result. You can say every day he had to catch a bus from Kingsway Camp to P Block in Delhi, and there he went. He faced many difficulties because the red tapeism had already stepped in the offices of government after independence. As far as Arun is concerned, he had joined Hindu College in Delhi. Though he was in MA final, but he was not admitted in MA final. So he had to take in MA previous because the syllabus was different. He was a student there. The winter came, that is in January. On 30th January, you can say exactly, Lala Kasiram reached his home. It was almost dark in the evening. He was informed by his wife Prabharani about the tragic assassination of Mahatma Gandhi. He could not believe it, but that was a fact. But the death of Gandhi brought sorrow in the heart of Lala Kasiram. Prabharani was also sad at the death of Gandhi. Arun, Sunanda Bala, they all agreed at the death of Mahatma Gandhi. But Bibi Amarvati did not feel any kind of sorrow because she had lost. There she used to live like a queen. Now she became just a labor. She felt that Gandhiji had betrayed the nation. He had promised the United Nations before the people of India, but he agreed for divided India. He failed in his words and deeds. And all their problems, sorrows, whether the sorrows and pain of Lalaji, Amarvati, or any of the refugee, they were the result of that partition. She said, it all happened because of the partition. And it was Gandhi who sanctioned the partition. But Arun, who was a student, he interfered and said, that's not true. Arun felt he had to put the record straight. He said it was the other Congress leaders like Nehru and Patel who were responsible for partition. At this, Bibi Amarvati said they were his stooges. That is, they were his subordinates. No, auntie, Arun told her, you are wrong here, there. In the final days, they didn't listen to him. The death of Mahatma Gandhi upset Prabharani and she felt bad about it. She wanted to cook food for the members of the family, but Lalaji said, no, our mothers don't light the fire today. I won't eat either. Neither Arun nor Lalaji nor Prabharani ate anything on that day. Means they were really sad at the death of Mahatma Gandhi. Now, with the passage of time, there was a change in the personality of Lala Kasiram. It had undergone a change, tragic transformation. He did not get the rhythm to his wife and son. Means there was not that kind of relationship which used to be in Sialkot. Not only Lalaji, but every single individual had his own grief, sorrow and pain. What impressed Lalaji Kasiram was the pride with which each man stood. But Lalaji Kasiram was happy also when he listened to the reaction of different people at the death of Mahatma Gandhi. Some were very happy, some were sad, some were trying to blame Gandhi, some were not blaming him. So when he saw this, he was very much impressed, and the pride with which each man stood. An Indian, an Indian leader dying, and the crowd feeling openly for him. It was unthinkable in the days of slavery. Earlier, people were afraid of their own people who might betray them. Earlier, people, if they were happy or unhappy, they did not express their opinion, their feelings. They used to hide everything. But now it was not so. In independent India, people were expressing their feelings openly. They were not afraid of whether they will be betrayed by their fellow people. No. The three characters, main characters, that is Arun, Prabharani, and Lala Kasiram. All of them were, were lying fully awake in their room, not being able to talk to each other and feeling guilty about it. They were not being able to go to sleep, feeling angry about it. A sadness weighed on their hearts, and each felt stifled and crushed. Means all of them were affected by the incident of partition. And in the adjoining room, Sunanda sewing machine was still running at top speed. The doors of both the rooms shook with its vibration. The idea is life was going on as usual. But Lala Kasiram, Arun, they were affected, but they were ready to go ahead also. Thank you very much.